pandemic has put the brakes on the near constant air miles apparel and footwear executives were used to racking up. These trips to and from partner factories are just one of the many aspects of the industry that COVID-19 disrupted. Today, I'm discussing how the industry can not only survive, but thrive without these face-to-face visits. I'm here with Jose Suarez, founder of Vaēso, a digital shop floor execution system focused on providing real-time visibility to your shop floor. Jose, welcome, and thank you for joining me again.
Hi, Eddie. It's a pleasure being back with you.
So, for years, sourcing professionals in the apparel and footwear industries have racked up tremendous amounts of miles traveling to and from factory to factory during the production process. That all ended with COVID-19 or temporarily put on pause due to COVID-19. With travel bans in place, what's at stake for companies that are still working with manual processes?
The challenge with managing production, quality production on the shop floor of a factory is that you do need some visibility and some digital tools to be able to give visibility to the overseas office staff, whether it's quality assurance or lean transformation, manufacturing engineers. So the overseas office, the heads of all these major brands and retailers are realizing that it can be done. But the issue is we need to provide them with the digital tools, and that's what we have launched with Vaēso, is the ability to zero in and understand exactly where the problem is. Because when a quality assurance, quality control, or lean manufacturing engineer from any major retailer brand arrives at a factory, they walk the factory and they figure out where the problems are. When you're working digitally, it's not feasible to walk through a factory of 3 or 6 lines because you don't have the visibility to all the shoes or garments that are being produced on all these many lines within an installation. So how do we provide them the digital tool so that they can laser focus and they know that they just launched a very complicated construction and it's being produced on line 1 and 2 in factory ABC in this town, in this city and country, and understand exactly what the problems are so that they can literally connect with a supervisor or a head of quality or a QA technician on the shop floor and say, I'm seeing that you're having problems. Your defects per million have gone up from 5,000 to 50,000, and I'm concerned. I'm seeing that you're working on this root cause analysis. How can I help and provide my technical knowledge to help you overcome this quickly so that we only have 100 garments with issues and not 5,000 by the end of the week?
Maybe this is a loaded question, Jose, but obviously the technology exists. But in your opinion, do you really think it's enough to compensate for meeting with those factory partners in person and policing the production?
I am absolutely confident that if you have the laser focus information, there is virtually no difference. We're even imagining down the road, like the NASA Control Center in Houston, where you could be a brand or retailer with an office in Hong Kong or Ho Chi Minh, and you have your 5 best apparel or footwear technicians, senior technicians sitting there and just focusing on each one, managing 20 factories and just zeroing in and hitting a switch and being able to speak to and by video conference with a supervisor on the shop floor and give them their knowledge so that they overcome problems. There's absolutely no reason why that can't be done. The technology exists. It's slow enough. We have it, and we're expanding our functionality to be able to give this to the retailers and brands of the industry. And we're totally convinced it can be done.
So there's a few ways. I have another question, and there's a few ways to look at it. You could say that, beyond, time and money, reducing travel has a positive environmental impact, right, on the world. You could also argue that those that don't embrace this technology could end up with factories that have product that make more and that have more mistakes. There's more waste. That could have a negative environmental impact in the form of excess inventory. So which is detrimental, obviously. Is there a way for the industry to be more sustainable in its production operations?
The problem is that we see is that the C-level suite in our industry has been normally focused on front end. It's all about sales. It's all about the omni-channel or the front end, store experience. It's about product and innovation on the product side. And very few, I can count fingers on my hand on the retailers and brands who really dive deep and want to help their factories and their manufacturing ecosystem improve. My prediction is if the C-level suite all the way up to the CEO does not start getting involved in managing, and some people could say micromanaging, but there are tools to, with very low bandwidth at headquarters and overseas offices, understand the challenges at the factory floor, set targets for improvement in productivity, quality, and speed. If the C-level suite does not get involved, I predict that those retailers and brands are going to have a hard time existing 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And the second thing you talked about waste is the millennials and Gen Zs of the world no longer accept the mammoth waste and waste as an efficiency and quality that we have in our industry. So it's also on the social and consumer relationship. You have to clean up our industry.
How can the factories and the retailers build long-term trust and a track record of success so that even when the pandemic is behind us, God willing, they will be able to not have to go completely back to the way things were and continue working in this kind of new way?
I think everybody has learned the negative impact of having inventory. How do you produce in real time what the consumer is demanding? And even it's coming from Asia, be able to turn it around in 5, 6 weeks and not 3 or 4 months, which happens today. And that's the only way. You got to improve as a C-level suite of a retail and brand. How can I improve my return on equity or return on capital? And that's by eliminating inventory. And the only way you're going to do that is by improving speed. And then shortening your supply chain and time to market on innovative new products improves your gross margin because you don't have to buy as much and you buy exactly what you can sell. So your gross margin goes up. But all of that implies that we have to change from a transactional relationship at the retailer brand level to a strategic partnership. And very few companies understand that. Yep. It's still nickel and diming. You get a retailer and they have a $4 garment and somebody else in Timbuktu is offering $3.92. The incentives within these retailers are so ingrained after decades of everything is low cost. It's no longer about the 8-cent difference. It's about speed and the impact it has on your bottom line of having less product discounted because you don't buy 1 million yellow t-shirts and, oh my God, pink is hot. So now what the hell do I do with the 1 million? How do I get them? And some retailers have ended up having billions of dollars of inventory and saying we're going to have to burn them or throw them in the trash. And that's no longer acceptable by Gen Z and millennials. So it all comes back to how do we build strategic partnerships with our factories? And that starts with changing the internal compensation system of everybody inside the retailers, where it's all about $7 versus $6.92. So let me shift it to somebody I've never worked on. And so social compliance is even getting more and more difficult. The audits are more sophisticated, et cetera. So strategic partnerships is the only way to go.
I couldn't agree more, Jose. And as always, I appreciate your insight. I hope everyone, you provide a lot of food for thought here. So thank you again for your time, Jose. And let's speak soon.
Yeah, Eddie, thank you. And you and I are one of the front runners on this. We've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years, and we've been crying wolf. And this COVID impact is really bringing what we have been telling the industry to root. So totally agree with you. Thank you very much for having me on. It's always fun.
Thanks, Jose.